What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing today? I'm super excited to get with you guys. Nah, I'm just messing around with you guys, but I am super excited though. I'm not messing around with that. I'm super excited to get with you guys because today is Hump Day, and when it's Hump Day, it's the Sports Lounge Media. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about because we got the NFL first week of preseason going on that just happened, and then we also got week two. That's it's crazy because it's the stuff that we've been talking about, and then it's like here now, so it's like whoa, So we're diving into that today, and before we do that, we gotta give a little shout out to our sponsors, the ones who sponsor us, and Mark will take care of that. Mark.
Yeah, of course, we got number one sports fan located here in Tulare, Visalia, Hanford, and down in Los Angeles in West Covina. Just hit them
You
up on
gotta
the
say it like this, West Covina.
West Covina.
There we go.
And then, of course, we have Cali Built Graphics, who takes care of all of our needs. We have, obviously, they take care of our shirts. You see each one of us wearing our polos. Mikey is chosen is, of course, representing the hats that we can get made for you. And then the other thing that they do have right now in stock, and we are working on more, is decals. So if you guys want to get any decals for SLM, just shoot us a direct message, and we'll be glad to send those out to you guys.
Yep.
And we also have Brian Martino Construction. So hit up Brian at brianmartinoconstruction.com and let them know Sports Lounge Media sent you. And if you mention the Sports Lounge Media, he will give you $1,000 off of any project that is $10,000 and more. So whatever you need, he will take care of it. And of course, here at the Sports Lounge, we are powered by the Mogul brand and the Diamond Collection, where we hit them up at www.powerbytmb.com. Put in the Sports Lounge Media, and you will get 20% off your orders. And just so you guys know, that right there is the Black Diamond, and it is in the concentrate. And so if you need to know anything about that, hit any person that is a part of the Sports Lounge Media, and they will be able to tell you exactly what it is and the values of taking this wonderful concentrate, mixing it with just some good old-fashioned spring water. So again, we want to thank each one of our sponsors and everything they do for us as we continue to do for them. On to that.
Yeah. On that note, let's jump right into it, guys. What I'm gonna do for you guys is I'm gonna go through every single game. I'm gonna give you guys every single score, and then I want you guys to pick a game that stood out to you, and we'll talk about it. Does that sound good?
Go for it.
Let's go. We're gonna start on Thursday night, August 7th. We have the Bengals versus the Eagles. The Eagles won that game 34-27. We had the Raiders tying with the Seahawks 23-23, and we also had the Colts being defeated by the Ravens 24-16. The other thing that happened was on Friday, we had more football. And what happened was the Lions played against the Falcons, and the Lions won that game 17-10. We got the Browns versus the Panthers. The Browns won that game 30-10. The Commanders got carved up by the Patriots 48-18. Then on Saturday, we had even more games going on. So we had the Giants beating the Bills 34-25. We had the Vikings beating the Texans 20-10. The Steelers topped off topped off is crazy. Sorry, guys. I apologize. The Steelers beat the Jaguars 31-25. Cowboys got beat by the Rams 31-21. Buccaneers won the game versus the Titans 29-7. We had the Jets beating the Packers 30-10. Chiefs lost their game against the Cardinals 20-17. The Broncos won 30-9, and we had even more games on Sunday, just two more games. We had the Dolphins tying the Bears 24-24, and we had the Chargers winning 27-13. So that's their second game that they won. The first one didn't count, but they've won two games in my book. Let's go to the chat real quick before we jump into it. And you guys are trying to think about. It said, how about that Tanner McKee cutting up the Bengals defense like a hot knife through butter. Get ready to score 50 a night, Joe. Okay, and then we also have Cam Ward didn't look bad either. All right, so let's jump into it. let's start with Thursday's games. So we had the Eagles and Bengals, Raiders, and Seahawks, Colts and Ravens. Which game stuck out to you guys on Thursday night? On Thursday,
Strike.
Uh,
there's three of us, so we can each pick a game.
yeah, so let me talk a little bit about. Let's talk about the Raiders and the Seahawks because we all know that that's my West Coast team is the Seahawks. So
You
like
gotta stop that. We gotta stop that mess. We do like okay.
So let's talk a little bit about. Let's talk about it. You said they ended in a tie, correct? So 23-23.
Right.
The Raiders rallied behind that tie. Cam Miller ended up delivering a standout rookie that I think was great debut that fueled their comeback. I think he did great.
Okay.
He's a rookie quarterback. 41-yard touchdown pass to Shadrick Jackson, earning the praise of all his team for that. And then Ashton Genty, another rookie, struggled in his debut a little bit with one rushing yard, but I think
negative one.
Negative Ghost Rider.
-1. So I think he will do better. I still have a lot of hope for Ashton Genty. If I'm being honest, I'm looking forward to watching him play. If
he should, I mean, he should. He's Derrick Henry and Marshall Lynch's baby. So I mean,
they reproduced him. Yeah. So what I think about the team overall, I think they did good defensively. Jamal Adams making his debut as the linebacker, and Isaiah Pola, also the safety, recorded an interception. I thought that was kind of big. A lot of these rookies and people are coming into the league as their first game, getting a taste of the NFL, and then also trying to win in that spot. So that's kind of my big impressions for the Raiders game specifically. I think Pete Carroll, he began right with his return to his old stomping guards as well. So
yeah, that was the biggest take for me. I think the fact that Pete Carroll did go back to Seattle, which is really cool. And we'll dive into it in a little bit on where they'll be in Vegas this week. But the Ashton Genty, it's an adjustment thing for him, and I think he'll be perfectly fine. He's gonna be fine. It was one of those games. Welcome to the NFL, buddy.
Right. Yeah.
Mark, what team? What game stood out to you on Thursday?
For me, it was actually the Ravens and Colts. The big game, the big fact that I'll leave the Eagles for you. I wanted to be nice.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Anyway, so with that game, obviously we didn't see any Lamar Jackson, no starters really, at all. When it comes to Baltimore, but we saw Anthony Richardson, of course, do what Anthony Richardson does, and that is once again get hurt. You have one of the premier quarterbacks that came out of the draft, a couple years ago, and just the injury bug has continued to hit him left and right. And I don't know if he's going to be able to ever get back from something like that. I mean, they do have Daniel Jones, which isn't really saying much. So that's the hard part about it with the Colts. It's like, what are they going to do if they can't figure out how to keep someone that they put and they're relying on so much? I mean, ever since Andrew Luck has left and retired early with Indianapolis, there have been nothing but quarterback issues left and right when it comes to the Indianapolis Colts. So to me, that was probably one of the bigger things that stood out to me about the whole thing. And I don't know. I think realistically, the Colts are going to do what the Colts do. And that is, unfortunately, they're going to struggle this year. Everybody in the AFC South always struggles. But with Baltimore, that was one of the things, when now they're showing, okay, our backups can play. I mean, they did play pretty well, 14 points right off the bat in the first quarter. So that's going to be the big thing for me. So it's going to be what can Baltimore do behind the backups, because after that, who are you going to rely on? You got Lamar and you have, King Henry.
That is true. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions to be answered with the Ravens. Like, can Lamar get over the hump? That's one of the biggest things, right? And now that he has a stacked defense, and adding Jair Alexander, Humphreys, Hamilton, the list goes on that backfield. Nate Wiggins, and then you look to the offensive side of the ball. They got two tight ends, three wide receivers, with Hopkins, Bateman, um, Hopkins, Bateman, Zay Flowers. Andrews and Likely, and then you add in Lamar Jackson with Derrick Henry. There's no reason why they shouldn't be in the Super Bowl. And I will say this on this pod too, and I've said it multiple times: is if Lamar Jackson can't get it done with this team, he's never going to get it done, and he's also not in my top five. There's no way in hell that you can't get to the Super Bowl with a more stacked team than the Eagles are and not be competitive. You have all the capabilities of getting an MVP in the season, and we've seen you at your highest, and there's no way in heck that you're not able to just get there. That's crazy work, right? So if Lamar can't get there, there's you got to fire coaches, you got to fire, there has to be some type of changes. So with that being said, I'm expecting a big year out of Ravens, but I'm also not surprised if they don't make it, because it's just been a trend for them.
Yeah. So what about Philadelphia though?
Oh man, I'm glad you asked, brother. I am glad you
Mhm.
asked. Fly Eagles fly. Let's go birds. You know,
Birds.
there is some concerns though. I'm gonna keep it real, non-biased here. Joe Burrow carved up our. I know that down south said Tanner McKee cutting through the Bengals defense like a hot knife through butter. That is true. Tanner McKee was 20 for 25, 252 yards, two touchdowns. Wish Shipley looked good with 7 carries, 48 yards. And they had Cooper, who's the guy that I think he's number 41. But he simulates a little bit of, he's a little shorter version of AJ Brown, right? But they had a Anais Smith that looked really good in that game too. So offensively, they look good. Now, I will say this. Joe Burrow was 9 for 10, 123 yards with 2 touchdowns, and he carved up our secondary. What are we going to do with Dory? What are we going to do with Kelly Ringo? And I've said Ringo all the time. Ringo, what are we talking about? Ringo was never sold to me. I don't think he ever will be. And I think that's why they went and got Bennett. And so I would like to see in this next preseason game against the Browns that I want to see what Bennett can do, because one other thing is, what are we going to do with the CB2 position? What are we going to do in our secondary? Now, reason why I'm not scared of the season is because of our trenches. We're good. Our offensive line and our defensive line is stacked. And if our defense can get to the quarterback, we really don't have to worry too much about our secondary, right? But the question is, what if they do, right? Mobile quarterbacks, mobile quarterbacks scare me. Dual threat quarterbacks scare me. Why? They extend plays against our defense. We're gonna have to rely on our secondary. And I don't think that they're going to target. I think Cowboys will have a big game with not CD, but with Pickens, simply because he's a second option, and who's going to be our CB2 covering him? I mean, Mitchell can't carry him both, and it depends on which package we're in. I mean, Cooper can cover him, but then there's going to be packages where he's in nickel, and so who's going to be our CB2? That's going to be the interesting thing. I think that's the only thing that worries me about this Philadelphia team is our secondary, and then Andrew Makuba, right? Where is he at in the secondary? How does he fit into our scheme? Is he going to fit into our scheme? And there's questions like people ask all the time, why didn't we sign Justin Simmons? Well, the same question you can ask, why didn't anybody else in the NFL, if he was really that good, they didn't sign Justin Simmons? And we're this far into the preseason already and nobody has signed him. There's a reason for it. And if all people, Vic Fangio, that had opportunities with Justin Simmons knows him, why didn't he sign him? Right? Yeah, he should have been top of the list, and Vic should have said, "Go get that guy to fill in for that that safety role." There's a reason behind everything, and I think that do I think that we're good enough to win an NFC championship? Absolutely. Can we win a Super Bowl against Lamar Jackson? That's questionable because he can extend plays. Speaking truth.
I just had to use
We have to figure out the secondary. We're going to beat Lamar Jackson.
I agree with you on that completely.
So the one thing I'm going to say about that Philadelphia game is was actually AJ Dillon. AJ Dillon is going to serve obviously as a power back, a short yardage guy. This way, it does give you a similar style to Saquon. He had 5 carries with 27 yards. No, it's not a lot, but that's not his job. But he also had 3 catches out of the backfield. So, and that's something that he did very well when he actually was with Green Bay. Is he was a receiving back also. So you can sit there and give someone a break. You can give Saquon because Will Shipley is not that power back. And yeah, Lamar not in the top 5. I don't know. We can sit there and go to that here in a second. But like I said, for me, AJ Dillon, I think that's going to be the key factor. Especially him coming back off of injury. He's healthy, so I think that is one of the biggest things that is going to help relieve some of the pressure off of Saquon. So,
yeah, I definitely think too.
No, let me re-elaborate this real quick. You said that he's not top 5, so we should be good. No, I said he's with the team that he is. If he can't make it to the Super Bowl with the team that he has that is stacked,
the super team.
Yeah, his super team can't make it to the Super Bowl and actually win the Super Bowl. Even just they'll just get to the Super Bowl with a team like that. If he cannot get to the Super Bowl with the team that he has right now, he's not in my top 5. Right now, he's currently in my top 5. But if he doesn't make it with the team that he has that is defensively stacked, offensively stacked, there's no room for that. It's all about the Super Bowl. It's all about wins and losses. You know what I'm saying? It's all about getting to the promised land. And for me, he has enough MVPs to say that he's good enough to get there, but the body of work doesn't show me that he can get there by losing in these early rounds. So
yeah,
that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I think there was just a lot of surprises in the NFL. I had a question for you guys. Actually, I wanted to see maybe what you guys felt for an overall impression of all the rookies that everybody mentioned. I mean, we had Shador play, we had Genty play, we had a lot of big time rookies that everybody had specifically on their radar. How do you guys think that each one of them performed? Or give me a couple that you're yeah, I think they are definitely rookie status, or hey, I think they're really going to be that starting position.
So actually, we can hop right into that question because we're going to talk about going in Friday's games, and the game that I'm going to choose is the Browns versus Panthers and Shador Sanders.
Okay.
Shador had a decent game when it comes to what he needed to do. He just showed to me also the one thing, and I stated this in our group messages, and I give him credit because he accepted and he said, I have things I need to clean up. I give myself a grade of a C+. So I'm I grew to have more respect. He realized he's not coming in like he did when he was at Colorado. As for I wasn't a big fan of when he went ahead the celebration on his first touchdown. I mean, bro, it's preseason. You got no reason to be celebrating, but that's probably realistically going to be the only time he's going to see the field this year. He has already been announced that he's not going to be playing this next week because of a strained oblique. So I don't know if he's just afraid to play the defense that Philadelphia has because we're going to start seeing more. You're going to be seeing the starters now, but. So for me, his play, I would say yes, he was a C+ quarterback. He has capability to obviously be, a legitimate backup in my personal opinion. I do not see him, especially right now as a starter. Yeah, he was 14 of 23 with 138 yards passing. He did have 2 touchdowns. There was nothing impressive to me on the throws. A lot of people tried to say, oh, well, I've talked to people about the first touchdown. Oh, he threaded the needle on that. I'm like, I don't know what you guys are talking about because I watched the game. And as a person who's studied film and spent so much time looking at game film, it was a good throw. He didn't thread a needle. It was placed exactly where he needed to be put. And so I think, like I said, with Shador, give him a couple years. He can be, he can become a starter. Yes. Right now, I mean, he's still going to be sitting at QB3.
Yeah, for sure.
QB3 is crazy work. Okay, so I have a different take. I think Shador Sanders will eventually be QB1. If not, he'll start the season off at QB1. He played good enough in that game to show us spurts of where he could be great. Again, we're talking week 1 in preseason, and we're not talking week 3 preseason. So obviously he gave himself a C plus, knowing that he has to develop, and I think he'll make those changes and develop in that system. In that QB room, you're talking about a Joe Flacco that only can give you 4 games. You got a Kenny Pickett who's injured with the shoulder, and also Dylan who's has a shoulder injury, and there's
The
and
problem is the
we all,
offensive line.
and and he showed that he can extend plays, and he did that in that game. So in that in that
Real quick though, he was also playing against the 36th best defense in the NFL with the Carolina Panthers. I mean that's how horrible. I mean, and you're talking about backups. So I wasn't taking in consideration, I take in consideration, okay, yes, you have to look at everything. That's why I give him respect. He acknowledges, okay, I did make, yeah, he had a good day passing with the touchdowns, everything like that. But again, he was able to extend plays. I agree. But I really don't see him. I think that's where you and I will probably always disagree as of right now. And hey, I hope he's able to prove me wrong. But as of right now, I mean, pretty much the only person I would take Shedeur Sanders over in the NFL is Caleb Williams. But we also saw Caleb Williams struggling, already. He struggled last year, even though he was able to put up yards. But I just think he's not prepared to start. Let him sit. Joe Flacco is going to be, like you said, 4 or 5 games. But I don't.
Well, we got to get to the point where, okay, we're going to use Joe Flacco, who's already 40 years old and had a career already. He's already had a career. You need to, you pick these guys in the rounds to see what you got, whether if it's capital, you use them for capital, or you use them actually as a quarterback of your franchise quarterback. So you have to see what they got. Why are we going to wait till next year to draft another quarterback potentially? And then you just drafted 2 quarterbacks, one in the 3rd and one in the 5th. You have to see what you have within. You have to see what you have in these quarterbacks, or enough for you could, number 1, to have film enough to get capital, and then number 2, to be able to see what you have in both of those players. To say that Shedeur Sanders cannot start on that depth chart is crazy to me. Also, he can also start on the Saints. There's nobody in the Saints is competition over there for Shedeur Sanders. There's multiple teams in the league that he can go start right now, and I would pick him over them. And at the end of the day, it's the front office that's keeping him off the field, not him. So he did show spurts of that he can play in this league, and as you said, you would take him over Caleb Williams. Give him three good guys, the protection that Caleb Williams has this year, and we can see what Shedeur really has, right? Every single team that Shedeur was on, though, you got to remember, on Colorado, did they have the best offensive line? No. Did they have the best offensive line in Jackson? No. And he has played at a high level on both of those teams. To the level as Heisman? No. To the level of Peyton Manning? No. But again, we're talking about a rookie that's played 1 preseason game, and seeing what we have in this rookie. And what I see is a guy that has potential to go out there and take self-responsibility to improve, and he has improved in every level that he needed to improve in to be able to be ready for week 1.
Yeah, see that, like I said, I give it a couple years. Could he be? Yes.
In a couple of years, he should be great.
But I don't see, when you talk about when he was at Colorado, when he was at Jackson, what competition he's, the speed of the game is completely different.
Why are we comparing that to the competition? We should do that with Genty. Genty played for Boise, didn't play nobody until the playoffs.
I'm waiting to see what Genty's going to do. Also, I don't give Genty credit for the fact being that he was taken in the 1st round. I just don't. But at the end of the day,
okay, Quinyon Mitchell coming from Iowa.
So
he became fantastic last year. Cooper DeJean came from Mitchell. I mean, Cooper DeJean came from Iowa. Mitchell came from Toledo.
Mm-hmm.
These are 2 guys coming from places that is not in the SEC, right? Not playing against, but they became incredible players, right? Why can't we expect that from somebody that has the mentorship and the ability to be great because of the mentorship and the qualities that he has to become QB1 in a room full of nobodies in the Browns organization?
I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying that he can't. But my thing is, again, when you look at the statement about Cooper DeJean, he played at Iowa. He played against actually, good colleges. When you look at what they did, he wasn't being relied on every play. When you're talking about a cornerback versus a quarterback, and Cooper DeJean was used majority of the time as a nickel, if I'm correct, right?
He was used as a nickel for the Eagles, yes.
Okay. So with that being said, they weren't running a nickel package the entire time. When you're having your offense being relied on him, that's where I think it's going to take the time. He does need the mentorship. He does need to grow. He has the capability. I just don't see it right now.
Did
That's what
he
I
did
think.
he did he make Jackson better when he played for Jackson?
Yeah.
Did he make Colorado better when he played for Colorado?
Yeah.
Why can't he make Cleveland
but
Browns?
I think
but
I,
did he
I
also
think
have
we
the help
talk
from
a
other
lot
players?
about.
That's where Cleveland doesn't have the extra help.
But they
They
have
were able.
Njoku. They have Njoku. They have Miles Garrett on the opposite side. They have players that
Offense,
could
though.
that
So
could.
I think we
Offensively.
can talk about Sanders quite a bit, and I think this is his first preseason game. I definitely see both sides. I kind of want to move on to other rookies, guys. So another person that I wanted to kind of spotlight that not a lot of people are talking about is Jackson Dart. Do we have any thoughts about Jackson Dart and the Giants?
I think they wasted their pick on him in the first round.
Yeah, I didn't see much from Jackson Dart. That's a guy that's another team, right? I think Shador could have started over Jackson Dart as well. Um, I
I agree with that.
I just don't see it. I don't see it over there. You know what I mean? I don't see why the Giants didn't pick him for whatever reason. We all know, but I just didn't see enough out of Jackson Dart to tell me that he could be a starter. I think that's Russ' job, and then after Russ, he's in the position 3, right? So I think that's the position he's gonna stay in. There's no competition there. You're gonna have James Winston backing up Russ Wilson. We already know Wilson is gonna start, but I think Giants is a super team that could ruffle some feathers when it comes in within the NFC East versus Washington. I don't think Washington. I'm gonna say I don't think Washington can beat the Giants twice.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
I real quick. I'm right there with you on the whole Jackson Dart thing. Um, I think the smart play though for the Giants in that aspect is you do have a guy, with a future Hall of Good in Russ Wilson. A guy that more than likely will end up in, get going into the Hall of Fame. Learning from him. You and I have always talked about that. If you have the capability to learn from someone that's good and is able to do those type of things, you're going to see the mentorship instead of being tossed right into the ring of fire.
Yeah.
That is the catch. So with Dart, he has that capability being behind Winston and Russell Wilson.
Right.
You can't. That's why I keep saying with Shador, you can't toss him into the ring of fire. But that's exactly what's going to happen, and
Yeah, but
that's
but,
why.
but they don't. But Giants have that option. They have Russ Wilson. They have Jameson. They don't have that in Cleveland.
I know the Cleveland never has because they
But we're
they
going
need
back. We're
to
going back. We'll stick.
they
We'll
need to
stick
go
to.
back. What I'm going to say real quick, they need to go back to actually understanding what it's like because I want to say they've had 36 quarterbacks in Cleveland since they went back. I mean, it's an absurd amount. So whatever they're doing in Cleveland, they just need to figure out how to do the opposite.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the Giants have the capability to better themselves because they're trying to plan for the future. You have Russ on that contract that he's already got. Well, guess what? I got a guy that's going to learn under someone that's actually been to the Super Bowl, knows what it's like to win, and things like that. So that's where I do think Jackson Dart is in a better situation because he's not being tossed into that ring of fire.
Yeah. So there's another game that I want to mention, and it's the Patriots versus the Commanders. Patriots win 48-18. Now, I will say this. The Commanders are in freaking trouble if anybody gets injured on that defense. Do you guys hear me? Look at me in this screen. You guys are in trouble if anybody gets hurt on your defense. If anybody gets hurt on your offense, you are in trouble. 48-18 in a preseason game. This is the stuff that I've been talking about on your defense. You have no run game, didn't do nothing in the offseason to make sure that you can be competitive in this, and you have every opportunity and capital to be able to secure somebody on that defensive run, and you did nothing. So that's what makes me believe that Bo Nix will have a better season, just like last year, than JD5. The only difference is that JD5 went further, but in statistician purposes, Bo Nix had a better season.
Did we lose you?
He's having some technical difficulties, but real quick, no.
We can't hear you.
There's no way in hell at the end of the day that you're going to tell me that if nobody gets injured, that Washington is going to be second in the division, more or less win the division. That's crazy. Get up out of here with that.
I did mention that
game with your backups, 48-18. If that is your second string, you are in trouble. Mayday, 911. Get on the phone, GM, and figure it out if you want to be competitive. I don't want to hear no Washington talk for the rest of this season.
I did actually mention that in my live the other day. I felt like they didn't bring in a lot of help either, I think, to protect JD5 either. And I feel like if that top line is not going to be very protective, JD5 is going to be in trouble, because I think they struggled a lot with that last season as well.
And nobody recognizes the fact that last season they did lose to Cooper Rush, right? Mm-hmm. They did lose to a couple of other I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy talk. But I just wanted to highlight that game just real quick.
So what's up, Jake from State Farm 808? Shout out to you, brother. We appreciate you hopping on here.
Hi,
Jake. I want that discount, Jake.
Right? Why did I have to change insurance? Come on, Jake, help us out here. We going broke.
Let's move into Saturday. You want to move into Saturday real quick? What was the game on Saturday to highlight? We got the Giants versus the Bills, the Texans versus the Vikings, Steelers versus the Jaguars, Cowboys versus the Rams, Titans versus the Buccaneers, Jets and Packers, Chiefs and Cardinals, and Broncos and 49ers. I will say this, shout out to CJ Gardner-Johnson. Hopefully he gets better very quickly here, but shout out to him. He's one of my favorite players.
Can I just talk about this for the Cowboy fans out there, is that a lot of people during camp praise Milton, right? They were like, this is it. We don't need Dak. He's the best backup. He's going to take Dak's place. After watching Saturday's game, I don't believe he's the answer for the Cowboys. I think there was a lot of overpassing. There was a lot of just mistakes there. I expected better, to be honest. I mean, I was maybe kind of one of those that was like, hey, this backup might really help you guys. But I think they need to hold on to Dak a little bit longer and keep him healthy.
So I'm going to hop in off of that. So I'm going to keep my biasness out, because obviously, Milton being from Tennessee. One of the big things for that you saw, obviously, a lot of overthrows, missed routes, things like that. That is the one thing that Joe Milton, and I will give criticism where criticism is due, is the guy has an arm strength that is absurd, and he overthrows way too often. Josh Allen had the same problem when he came into the league, because of the intensity that he throws on the ball. I mean, Milton, we've seen him throw the ball in the air, with zero, off of his back foot. He actually had one of the preseason game against the Rams, the practice game, that happened earlier in the week, 75 yards in the air off of his back foot. So he had nothing, and he went off the back foot to throw 75. So the arm strength is there. That's one of the great qualities that Joe Milton does have. The downside is being able to throw those. He's trying to keep under the pressure, and putting the ball exactly what the problem is he runs it to where it's like, do I have guys that are fast enough to get to exactly where I'm supposed to do it? So his timing is off a little bit. We saw last year in the one game he played, he did actually pretty well with the Patriots with 252 yards. So it's just getting that passing timing correct. I do think, again, he is another guy. He needs to learn underneath somebody. I think Dak Prescott, if you want to win the regular season, man,
I feel like he thought all the players were like 6 feet and above. Like I was just
not just that. I don't think he just. I honestly, I was high on Milton as well. Going in,
Yeah.
I thought he was. I honestly thought he was one of those guys that could take Dak Prescott, and I thought Dak Prescott could be in trouble if he gets injured. But after watching him, I don't think the man understands the strength that he does have. There was like a 5-yard drop, and he just like darts it to him. It's like it's a check down, bro. Like just like. It just lob it to him. Like there's no need for that bullet pass. That was a first down. Like we're moving. We just
needed a nickel. We didn't need the dime. We just needed.
Yeah, we just need you to flick
Dude's
it out
throwing
there.
like 100-mile-an-hour fastball, on a 5-yard pass. I mean, no, I agree, and that's something that he struggled with at Tennessee. It struggled with when he was at Michigan.
Yeah.
He struggled, that even when he was in the preseason with the Patriots last year.
Mm-hmm.
That has been his biggest downfall. He does not understand, the arm strength that he has. So, I mean, that's the thing he has to work on.
Right.
Give him a couple years. I do think he, and allow him to understand things a lot better with his timing and what his receivers are doing. Because when he was at Tennessee, he had a speedster in Jalen Hyatt, and Jalen Hyatt was the guy like, okay, let me just go. I'm going to throw it, and all you got to do is throw it. I'll get there. That's how he was. And that's why they were so great when it came to the deep ball.
Yeah.
But again, it's the short game that he struggles with. And I have no problem, saying, yes, that is his biggest downfall.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's move on. Do you have a question before I have a question?
No, I was just ready to talk about next week.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Can you give me the rundown of next week's games?
Yeah, 100%. I got you guys. Let's start with. Whoa. Are we starting on Friday? We are. Friday we got the Titans versus the Falcons, Chiefs versus the Seahawks. Saturday, we got the Browns versus the Eagles, Niners versus the Raiders, Packers versus the Colts, Patriots versus the Vikings, Panthers versus the Texans, Dolphins versus the Lions, Buccaneers versus the Steelers, Ravens versus the Cowboys, Jets versus the Giants, Chargers versus the Rams, Cardinals versus the Broncos, and then on Sunday's game is the Jaguars versus the Saints, and Bills versus the Bears. And then on Monday night, nobody's going to watch this game. They may watch this game, but it's the Bengals torching the Commanders. What is the game that you guys are most excited about this preseason lineup that I had just given
you?
The Chiefs are playing who again?
Seahawks.
The Seahawks. Ooh, my team. I'm excited to see. I'm definitely going to tune into that game for sure. I didn't get to watch too much of a preview of the Chiefs. I'm kind of interested to see where they're at now after we had a BTA in the Super Bowl. So I want to kind of take a look to see how their team is performing, what their outlook is.
And you talked earlier, Soraya, a little bit about rookies, and I'm going to touch on that right now. I was kind of saving it for right now. I wasn't too impressed with Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter playing on both sides of the ball. He had his debut. I wasn't really impressed on either side of the ball. He's playing against the Saints. So this will give him an opportunity to really get his feet wet and us see what he's really capable of, because I wasn't impressed last week. So I think that's the game that I'm looking at. Other than that, I would.
Both sides of the ball. I mean, both sides of the offense and defense, right? They try
Correct.
to make both sides. Okay.
Yeah.
I had thought so.
The other game that I'm excited to watch, or I'm looking forward to watch, is the Chargers versus the Rams. I really want to see if the Chargers turn this corner. The Rams,
As we know, Matt Stafford is struggling with a lot of back spasms. They're talking about infusions before games. Is he going to get through the season? That's a question that needs to be answered. Is he going to be capable to fight through this and be able to get them to where they need to go to, which I think is the NFC Championship? I still have the Eagles topping them and being able topping them is crazy.
Can we quit saying topping?
Yeah, for us, I need to put that in my vocabulary. I have the Eagles going to the Super Bowl. I don't want to see if the Chargers can turn it around.
They say Chargers are going to be a powerful team this year. Yeah, I agree with you. It's definitely something.
What we're forgetting about the Chargers is a couple of things. They got Keenan Allen. Lad McConkey is not by himself anymore. The other thing is they got Najee Harris. So a lot of people forget that they got a running game now. So
Najee Harris is coming off an injury, and he's not expected to be that star player that he was.
I don't think he has to be in this offense. It's a throwing first offense. As you know, Harbaugh is a throwing first guy. But I'm interested to see if they have. Oh, let's put that up there. Let's see. If they have Hunter play both sides of the ball, he won't make it through the season. That's too much wear and tear. It just depends how many possessions. I think that if they split it up equally, depending the packages that they have, I think he'll be just fine. Because they are using them in packages.
Who are you excited to see, Mark, this next week?
For me, it's actually two games. It's going to be the Raiders and the Niners. I'd like to see what else they can do. Especially with the wide receiver help that the Raiders have gotten, seeing what Genty do. Because he's supposed to be playing more than just 3 carries, and seeing what the Niners defense can do. Realistic when you start looking at okay, let's start getting these players into a more game ready. That's the game for me. One of them, the other one actually for me is going to be the Cowboys and Ravens, because we're going to see obviously Joe Milton is going to be back behind. He's going to be playing some more, and I want to see what he can do against a better defense. And are you ready? It's just about proving your point. I wish I would have got a chance to see Shedeur. Just I want him to prove me wrong. I do. This is your dream of playing in the NFL and playing against a better team. What would happen if you would have played against that defense of Philadelphia, even if it is the secondary, the second strings. So that right there is okay, let me see what you can do. Like I said, with the whole Milton thing, you're looking at what had happened with the arm strength. That's his downfall. The other game that I actually am not too happy about, and yes, this is another Tennessee alum with Hendon Hooker. He had a decent game passing, but he's basically handing the backup spots away is essentially what he's doing right now. Even with Allen right now trying to fight for that backup spot. I mean, they're both, I don't know, they're both handing it away. That's the problem. So Detroit, I think, is going to struggle with that aspect. What happens if Goff goes down? Hendon Hooker has always been a run first type quarterback, and he showed that and managed to have 2 fumbles. Allen is obviously he's a passer, just like Goff is. Well, guess what? He doesn't realize what color his team's uniforms are, because he's just throwing interceptions left and right. So that backup spot is one of the things that still is being fought out for in Detroit. Obviously, seeing what we can see from, just in case if Dak gets hurt. Also, the defense coming back under Robert Saleh with the Niners. I mean, there's many different things. We know the Packers, that game itself, Jordan Love had surgery on his thumb, so he's not going to be back until week 1. So he's not even getting a preseason. He's just going to go straight into week 1 because they couldn't do anything in that one. So it's going to be difficult for them. I think right now, I mean, I still have Detroit winning the division.
I don't.
But I just think it's kind of becoming more even, especially if there's injuries, and that's one of the big things that we're all talking about here a lot lately is the injury bug that's going around. It's because the NFL needs to do their freaking job and get rid of the freaking turf. That is why all these injuries are happening. We've talked about it. We've spent an entire show on how much it affects them. and you're watching more stars go down because of turf. It does not give. You might as well just be playing on freaking concrete the way we used to do as kids.
Yeah.
So
before we get to Sarai, guys, put it in the chat. What game are you excited about? Put it in the chat. Whether if you are watching this live or you are watching us on the replay, put the game that you're most excited to see in week 2. Sarai, what is a one game before we end this thing? What is one game that you're most interested in watching? And please don't say the Seattle Seahawks.
I just talked about the Seattle Seahawks. That's who I was interested in watching.
Jesus Christ, we got to get it.
I am excited for our Eagles game. Nobody mentioned our Eagles game. I am excited to kind of see if everything that happened during week 1 was maybe fixed. We are starting to feel a little bit of injuries here and there from the Eagles. So hopefully they will do better this week.
Yep, just looking forward to seeing if they Vic fixes that secondary.
For sure.
For sure. So I think that's it for us today. Super excited about that. Again, come visit us at www.sportsloungemedia.com. I'll put it on the screen so you guys can see the QR code right about. Let me fix it, ladies. Right there. Go give us a follow and tell your friends, tell 3 friends about us to follow us. We are going to be doing some giveaways and some different things throughout the season. That's really, really cool. We're going to be giving away a bunch of Sports Lounge Media stuff along with the different things and raffles. So you guys will be able to be a part of that. Thank you so much for being a part of our community and all of that. Again, visit us at www.sportsloungemedia.com and hit that QR code. Next, we are going... we got some kitties on the screen.
Yeah, we do.
So we're going to go ahead and switch their gears, and we're going to talk a little bit about the nonprofit. Sarai and her guest is here.
Yeah, so we have guests tonight, guys. I wanted to introduce you guys to Hearts and Howls. We have our director and the creator of our nonprofit, Melissa, along with brand new kitties that we just got this week. We actually have a litter of them. So I will let Melissa talk a little bit about our Hearts and Howls and then talk about these kitties and what happened and their story and the reason why we ended up with them.
Yeah, so Hearts and Howls is a labor of love. We started rescuing street dogs, and now we also rescue cats and kittens from the streets. So we basically, donations is what fuels our rescue. We need donations, and we need adopters. It helps us vet all the animals. They're all spayed and neutered before adoption. They're all fully vaccinated and microchipped. And these little cuties were found because their mom got ran over. So they wouldn't have survived without being fed milk and wet food. So there's actually 8 of them in total. We have Miss Harley Quinn. They're the superhero litters. And then we have her sister Electra. And they are available for foster to adopt through Hearts and Howls Rescue. And you can visit our website at heartsandhowlsrescue.org. You can also see the link to the adoption applications, foster applications, and to donate. So thank you guys so much for giving us the opportunity to talk about these little creatures.
For sure. We'll definitely have a section. We'll definitely have a section on our website to be able to tap in as well. But you guys can hit that QR code. It's going to take you straight to the website, and you guys will be able to do exactly what Melissa, right?
Yes.
Let's explain to you.
Yeah. Now, Eagles and Cowboy fan.
Okay, awesome. But I'm going to give just 2 seconds for Mark, because Mark has a question for Melissa. He's been asking every single week. So I'm gonna give him the spotlight. Go ahead, Mark. Say what you need to say.
I want to know when you guys are gonna start Hearts and Hooves.
When I get some land. If you donate for some land, we'll start it.
Gotcha. All right. I'm gonna start working on that because I know plenty of people out there in Texas be like, look, this is what we got going on. So I'm gonna start working on some things.
I'm all for it. I love all the animals.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate that. And we'll also every week maybe post one of your guys's adoptee. I don't know how to say adoptees or
our adoptable pets.
adoptable pets. We'll put it up on our website and also maybe share it on our stories and all of that. Put the content out there to help you guys in every way possible. The Sports Lounge will back you.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on Hump Day. And don't forget, when it's Hump Day, it's Sports Lounge Media. We'll be on next week talking about the same thing that we always talk about, and that's the preseason until the season starts. Thank you so much for joining us. And we love each and every one of you guys. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.